other stories doing the rounds that we will talk to her about as well. Nusrit, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
You've talked to me many times about the rogue police and how difficult it is to sort of weed them out of various different police services. We've seen some terrible stories over the past sort of 24 months, I suppose you would say, last couple of years. You know, Charing Cross Police Station, the terrible case of the murder of Sarah Everard by Wayne Couzens, the terrible case of David Carrick, the sort of repeat rapist. And now we've got stories in Humberside where there have been 9 officers sacked over deplorable behaviour. I mean, it looks as though to the outside world, and I'm sure this is the wrong way to view it, that the police is literally full of perverts, rapists and criminals.
Well, not all police officers are that, Mike. We know that only it's been reported over and over again, so it's heightened in terms of that. There are thousands of good officers doing a very good job. However, there is a problem. I've talked about it many times on your show. It's been reported. You've highlighted some of those issues. And I welcome this step by the Home Office to rehaul that system. And I think Mark Rowley has many times said that he feels the frustration that they're not given that opportunity. Yeah. I mean, the misconduct system is one of the biggest things along with vetting. It takes 400 days initially to investigate a complaint if a member, if anybody, member of the public or staff internally make that complaint. And what's happened, because it was a national system, there was no independence, if you like, and it was changed. I don't know exactly when, Mike, but it was changed to bring in, you know, barristers to sit in on these misconduct claims. And from what the Home Office is doing now, they're putting chief constables back in charge, giving them the autonomy to be able to root these people out. You know, if a person is going through misconduct, as I said, it can take 400 days and they're still on a pay. Even if they get, you know, they go into court and they've been charged, they still stay on a pay that's been given by the taxpayer. So hopefully all these will now be looked at and we'll have a streamlined system where if you're found guilty of a misconduct, gross misconduct, you're out the door straight away.
Yeah, I mean, the problem, I suppose, is that the way that it's being described by Sir Mark Rowley is that the process already, at the moment, takes about a year to get somebody out. And I think all of us would say that might be too long, but at the same time, you can't kick people out unless you know that something is actually true, can you?
No, absolutely, but that whole system is to investigate. They can do the investigations very quickly. I know people that are on misconduct now, gross misconduct. It's already been a year. The investigations are clumsy. The investigations are taking a long time because people leave, they go on annual leave, there's shortage of staff, there's lack of experience. All those things have to look at because you've also got to think about the mental health and well-being of the person that's on that end. They're waiting a year and a half, and at the end of it, sometimes it's no case to answer. So in terms of that, I totally agree. But you're right, investigation has to be done. But they need to put clear parameters and timelines for an investigation to be done, because these can run for a long, long time and it's unnecessary. Right. So make it more streamlined, be able to get rid of these people and start to take back control of the investigations. And the
other two things that you've sometimes touched upon that cause these problems are, one, this kind of culture of secrecy, this culture of sort of, you know, whistleblowers not being encouraged to say anything because they get sort of blackballed or excised from the force that they're actually working inside. And also, those who come into the force are not being properly kind of screened when they're being interviewed for the job. We heard in many cases, some of them during lockdown, not even actually being seen when they were being interviewed, just doing it on Zoom.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the vetting process that really does need to be looked at. Again, there needs to be a consistency of standard. Each force is doing what it likes. It has a different appetite for risk. Some don't, you know, the online interviews from beginning to end. That now needs to be the next thing that that needs to be looked at. And there needs to be direct action quickly. But I'm so glad that this misconduct system is going to be looked at. My only concern is how and what is going to take its place, because it's all very well looking at it and trying to replace the system, which is really clumsy and lets down officers and the public. but I also hope that it's replaced with a better system and not just a rehashing of the old system.
Absolutely right. And as far as the way the police are kind of viewed now by the public, they're at a sort of all-time low in terms of trust. How do they get that back?
Very slowly. And this is the first step, I suppose, to showing people that actually we're making that change and we are serious about it. But as you know, regaining that trust and confidence, which has been lost over decades, isn't going to be easy. But one of the things that I would say that actually policing can do is go back to basics. And by that I mean is reinvest in neighbourhood policing, where police officers are visible and they're approachable. Now, the Tony Blair Institute actually sent some figures out. They did a survey and they've asked people what their views were on the police and how they viewed them. Only 50% of the public said that they had trust in policing. I think they were second one up from the government, which was 36%.
Right.
As it all, I suppose. So for me, it's about taking on what the public say, and it's about visibility, approachability, and slowly you will regain that trust and confidence. And one of the things that I think will really help is for policing as a whole to get behind the National Race Action Plan, and for the Met in particular, because obviously I'm in London, so it's the Met.
Yeah.
They need to start to take the London Race Action Plan seriously and invest resources properly. What they've done is they've adopted that plan, but they haven't actually put full-time staff in, and they've asked for volunteers. That doesn't show commitment. Those are the things that Londoners and across, because this is a national problem, it's not just a London problem, that people will start to sit up and take notice. Let's go back to basics. Let's invest in neighbourhood policing.
Yeah, absolutely right. Nusrit, thanks very much indeed. Nusrit Mehtab, former Scotland Yard superintendent there, talking about the dreadful state of some of the police forces in this country, Humberside in particular.